We talked to the Akashic Records and the Andromedans here about very vital information for humans about the evolution into the plasma body, about light language, hand mudras, and glyphs. And we even cover my new special ability to vaporize negative energies with my X-ray vision. You're gonna love it.
Okay, I'm ready whenever you are. You can go ahead and start with your first question.
Okay, so I understand that I'm a very old vibrational signature called Aareakh, also called the Galactic Ambassador, and I've had many incarnations from different galactic species, different realms, densities, and dimensions, and that I have now incarnated on Earth to help the Earthlings raise into the fourth density. So, with joy and fun. So, with that, can the Akashic Records give me a opening message?
Okay, light language is going to come through, so I'm going to speak it and then we'll go into your message. Okay.
Excellent. I love light language.
Okay. Hayede manano utakaru akata sunana toto totaba akata kanina tata te makata kata te kata te he sata hi I kata I'm hearing Andromedan. Hi I don't know bo bota to the boro kanina tata se kata tata ngota kata to te se poro da kata se te se. What we want you to recognize is that your human spirit is being amplified, and what we want you to recognize is that you're moving forward in a way that you don't fully understand. We also want you to recognize that there's shifts and changes changing within the human development of who you are, and we want you to recognize that it is a simplistic nature of who you are that is moving forward into the fifth dimensional consciousness. And I'm asking, it's like, why are you not already in the fifth dimension? And they're saying actually it's okay, so it's like the fifth dimension is like you have the entry point of the fifth dimension, and then it's broad, and it's like you're on the end of that fifth dimension,
Yeah.
and then moving into more of that sixth dimension energy. So what we want you to understand is that the plasma body is coming to you in a way that is going to be more recognizable in the days to come. But what we also want you to recognize is that your intellect, the mind consciousness, is shifting in a way that is becoming more knowing, in
Yes.
the sense that it's like there's not going to be any questions that you have to ask anymore, like asking questions like this, which we know this is just for fun, but this is more for the ego mind. And it's
Hmm.
not, yeah, it's not in that true mind. So we want you to understand that the simplicity of who you're becoming is helping you to recognize and to see energetic bodies and forces that are around you that that you can transmute into a higher frequency, a higher vibration. And I'm seeing that they're laughing and they're showing me it looks like it's a galactic being, but it's not. It's a galactic being in disguise, and it's a negative energy. And what is happening is, like, I'm seeing it more like an energy body,
Okay.
like an outline, but you can see through it. It's like you just see the energy in it. And what's going to happen is that you're going to recognize that there is a shift in the energy pattern that you can create within these dimensional beings that is not needed. So basically what I'm seeing is that, like, if it's an energy field that's a negative nature, you have the ability to shift the energy in a way that creates a higher frequency within that being, that entity, that creation. So they're laughing and saying, and it almost makes them explode because,
Yeah, I know.
okay, you know what I'm talking about?
I know exactly what you're talking, and I know how to do it too. I mean, it's actually what I call service to self beings because there is everything is service to others or service to self. So they're
Uh-huh.
just service to self in a higher density, but I know how to transmute them
Hmm.
into becoming a service for other being. But yes,
Okay,
I
yeah.
get it.
Yeah. Okay, you understand. Okay, so what we want you to understand is that this is a gift that you've been given so that you can help transmute the heavy dense energy that they're calling it, heavy thick energy that's on the earth specifically at this time. So what we want you to see, it's like basically like today, okay?
Okay.
And like right now. Okay, so what we want you to understand is that there is a shifting, and I'm seeing farmland. Okay, so bear with me with this. Okay, so what we want you to understand is that there has been a history of slavery in in rural areas that have still that's still farmland. And so what I'm seeing is like what this is funny. Okay, they're saying South Dakota, rural South Dakota, rural North Dakota. And we want you to understand that there's an energy within that region that needs you to to clear. There's a whole lot of there's tribal energy that, basically it was sacrificial energy.
Yes.
Okay, this is not where I was thinking this was going.
Yeah. No,
Okay,
you go ahead. I know what you're going to say, but you go ahead and say it.
okay. So they're focusing on this specific, okay, sacrificial energy that is still laying dormant under the surface of the earth. And basically what I'm seeing is that like they're calling them pyramids, but you know what I'm talking about, the earth
Hmm.
mounds. The
Hmm.
pyramids that were in that particular area thousands and thousands, like way before BC, like before like thousands of years ago,
During the
were,
Atlantean times, or even yeah, I got it. I
yeah,
got it.
okay.
Yes.
So these particular areas served as sacrificial
Hmm.
rites to please the gods. But what we
Yes.
want you to understand is that that was a hateful dense energy that is ready to be transmuted into the love energy, and recognizing that forgiveness needs to be had in that area.
I'm on it. I actually know how to do it. That's what I did in Peru because they did a lot of human sacrifices there. So I
Yeah,
transmuted the human sacrifices there. So I know how I did it in Peru. So I know exactly what you're talking about. I also get that I'm supposed to do it in the southern belt of the United States where there's slavery. It's a very
absolutely.
dense
Yeah.
energy. So I know about transmuting the energy and going there to do that. And it's on my to-do list. But
Well, I thought when they were talking about slave energy, I was seeing like Georgia and going down, and then they jumped over to the Dakotas. I was like, what?
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Wait,
yeah,
what?
yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
because humans been doing that all along, and it's
Yeah.
interesting that you mentioned the mounds because we're going to talk about that in my questions that I'm going to write about because they're pyramids. But anyhow,
Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
okay,
Okay.
can we go to the next subject? If you're
Yeah.
done?
Okay. So this is, you already recognize then what's
Oh,
happening. But
yeah.
okay, but they're also telling you that not only is it for the slavery part, what I'm seeing is going all the way from Maine.
Yeah.
It's like going all the way down that East Coast, all the way down. They're saying because the tribal slavery, all of,
Hmm.
and we already know the colonial stuff, but this is actually even prior to
Prior to that, yes.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and going down and going all the way down the East Coast, but then moving across. But there's also areas that need to be addressed that are in, they're saying this the southern part of Arizona.
Okay.
There's some energy that is they're saying the Mexicana is what they're calling it.
Okay.
Um, Energy that's in that particular area that needs to be transmuted as well. And okay, and so I see that, and it's basically the tribes from two different regions in that
Hmm.
area. There's been some conflict, but these old conflict energies is what's creating or what's holding the conflict pattern. Did not know this. The
Okay.
conflict pattern that we're existing in right
Yeah.
now, that division
Hmm.
was created because this particular form of energy was rising to the surface and it needs to be released. And so what's happening is that the human realm is being affected by this deep energy that's being brought to the surface. And so what we want you to understand is that you have the ability to dissipate this energy so that there is no more energy that's feeding into the conflict. You
Got it.
understand what I'm saying? Okay.
Exactly. And I can
Huh?
take advantage of the energies on Earth right now and the codes to help push me and give me more energy. It's all perfect. It's all perfect
Yeah.
timing for it.
Yeah. 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 And what I'm seeing though is that it's like the earth shifts.
Yeah.
So like the tectonic plates, the shifting that's in the plates
Uh-huh.
actually is releasing this old dense energy. And that's why it's coming up to the surface. And this has actually been going on. This breaking up of this old historic energy has been going on for approximately 10 years or more,
Okay.
which
Yeah.
makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah.
It's
So
time for right now.
yeah,
Yeah.
2012 really basically is, when this whole thing started shifting. And so that's when the earth really kind of had to start shifting and moving to fit that and break up that old energy. It's fascinating. Thank you for
It
that little
is. Excellent.
tidbit.
I'm on it. Yes. Yes.
Yeah,
I know exactly what to do and I will do it.
I
Okay.
like it.
So Lisa knows that I just came back from a doing sacred site earth grid work in Peru, and it was clear to me that I will be doing more of that going forward, and we just discussed that.
Yeah.
When I go to these sacred sites, I actually meet with these multi-dimensional beings like the Andes Mountain, Lake Titicaca, the Great Pyramid, who throw me a energetic party slash celebration, telling me that they have waited eons and eons for my return, and that we're going to have a code exchanging party. So can you elaborate on that process and recommend some high probability code party sites for me to go in the future? And you just did that, by the way, but go ahead.
Ayan na barato para kikdina ta koro to kanina da kara 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 na ta puro pata pura kara kara say I don't know. Okay, so the first thing that I was seeing was Ireland, but then I'm hearing Italy, and I'm not sure where that if it's the I names, but again, okay, so we're saying there's sacred sites in Italy that haven't been fully disclosed to the general public. But what we want you to understand, what I'm seeing is the boot part of Italy. It's
Hmm.
down, what they're saying is down in the toe of the
Okay.
boot is sacred land that is tied into the ocean experience. So what we want you to understand is that I'm hearing Atlantis. I don't even know where Atlantis actually. I don't know anything really about the Atlantis, but there's something that's tied there. Again, that there's the old geometric codes that are embedded within the surface of the earth there, but also, and it's like I'm seeing the land. It's like, so like if the way that the land goes into the ocean, it's
Yeah.
like there's codes that they're saying are dripping into the ocean waters. And so we want you to recognize that you will be finding and feeling the code generation that's within you. It's not generation like life generation, but like it's being generated, regenerated, regenerated, ignited basically. And what you'll find is that your physical structure will turn into a way that is more of that it's like the crystalline plasma body is it's like this is one of the things that are the transition points of taking you to the higher frequency and that higher dimensional way of being. But what we also want you to understand is that the Ireland and the code of snakes. Again, going back to the snakes again. There's
Which are
there,
dragons, but we'll
yeah,
talk about that.
yeah,
Yeah.
the serpents.
Yeah.
However you want to talk about
Yeah.
it. Um, but the snake energy in Ireland needs to be released. And so
Hmm.
what we want you to understand is that there are hidden codes in sacred spaces of Ireland that haven't been exposed yet. And so we want you to see, and like what I'm seeing is that it's like if you're looking at Ireland and you put a dot in the center of the continent and you go east, you'll recognize that the space or the location for these specific codes that need to be activated or released are on the eastern coast of the Ireland location. So what we want you to see again is that it's very close to the water if it's not right on the water. I don't even know how Ireland, if there's even water on that east side of Ireland or not. But basically, but that's what they're showing me is that there's something, and like what I'm seeing the border very specifically, and there's something that's like right there that again is like dropping off into water or into ocean. So somehow or another, whatever's on that eastern coast of Ireland, it's time for it to get activated, and this is what's coming. And what you're going to find is that there's going to be some tectonic plate shifts in that area, whether it's a little bit further east, like or maybe into the ocean where there's something that shifts. Recognize that this is causing earth changes that needs to be again brought up in the code manner, but also cleansed and clear of the old ancient energy that was holding in that a lot of darkness. Um, I want to call I hate to use this word, but they're calling it like the witchy energy. But it's the witchy energy in the form of it's almost like the mythology of
Mhm.
the dark stories, the control stories, and
Yeah.
the depletion. And I'm seeing like hearing the potato famine, like it's the energy that caused these diseases and these things that caused great destruction and death. That energy, that heavy energy is what needs to be released, and that it's working on it. It's and I'm seeing like the ground is shaking, and it's coming, and it's coming soon. And again, what we want you to understand is that what you can do is you can allow the earth to start coming open, to
Mhm.
create the energetic cracks so that these codes and these energies can be cleared out so that they're no longer being held trapped. And so what we want you to see is that the coding that's coming up to the surface is what is going to feed the region so that it can find more life and more sustainability.
Got it.
That makes sense to you?
Yes, it does. And then, as with anything, any one of these and all of these sites that I choose to go to, synchronicities will pop up. To it's like an Easter egg hunt that will give me more trails along.
Oh,
To
absolutely.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
because they're
That's what
not
I get.
telling me that, yeah, they're not telling me it's a specific site. It's more like an area.
Right.
So it's not like Machu Picchu. They're
Yeah,
saying it's just the region and the
yeah.
area. So you'll be guided to go where you need to go. But what I'm seeing is that it's not even that you actually need to. They're calling it astral travel. I can't say the word astral travel, and
I've
so
been
it's
looking
not
into that. Yeah.
okay.
So go ahead, say what you're gonna
Yeah,
say.
so
Yeah,
it's not necessarily that you have to be there in person. It's
yeah,
like you'll pick it up because you can envision and you can see yourself walking through the locations and
yeah.
you'll find exactly where you need to go.
Yes. I mean, I'll quickly say that I have learned to astral travel because I have been told that I need to do grid work on sunken land in Atlantis, and I can't go there if it's sunken
Yeah.
underwater. So I
Yeah.
learned
Yeah.
that I have to do astral travel in order to do grid work that's technically under the
Okay.
water. So
Yeah.
yes, I got it.
Awesome. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay.
Well, this is kind of really neat because you talked about plasma, and I think plasma has to deal with dragons. So I'm just going. So in Peru, doing ayahuasca and other plant medicine, I had a 6 hour experience with where dragons came in and they sat me on their throne as an honored guest, and they presented me with the totality of their existence on Earth. And
Mm.
then next, the primordial cosmic dragon swooped in and showed me flying through various galaxies of creation in an inverted triangle inside of me. Can you step out that experience for me and elaborate my connection to cosmic dragons and earth dragons? Um,
You're giving me chills. So let's see. Okay, what we want you to understand is that these are forms of energy. And so what we want you to see is that and again, it's the human realm. It's like we have to see. And so what we want you to understand is that it's not the actual physical structure that you see as a human. It's the energy patterns. And so what we want you to understand is that the pattern or the dragon of the energy of the pattern of the dragon energy is a specific frequency that allows the earth to breathe. So what we want you to see is that the totality or the interconnection of the dragon energy creates the cosmos and the earthly realm to be connected. It's almost like it's a grounding point to where it holds it all together. So it's like it holds the cosmos and the universe to the earth energy. And what I'm seeing is almost like a stake. You know, like if you see like if you're trying to tie something down,
Huh?
it's like this like a rope and then you're staking it into the earth, like it's holding this cosmos. And so what we want you to understand is that the energy from the dragon creates the consciousness that allows the human to recognize their interdependence on all things. And so, what we want you to understand is that what the vision was or the experience that you had was tying you to the cosmos, to the universe, to universal consciousness, and bringing you back down into the earth energies so that you can see how they are all intertwined and they're all one. It's all intertwined together. And they're saying what the way that the humans see the earth is separate. It's like it's almost like, okay, well, here's the earth, and then from here up is the universe, or
Oh,
anything that is beyond the light blue sky that we see, that's the universe. And
yes.
so what we want you to understand is that you are being given the visions and the understanding of how everything is tied together and there is no independence. It's interdependence of one another in order to exist and coexist together. The dragon realm helps to create the interactions of these energies so that they hold everything together and they allow the universe to flow freely without interruption.
Yes.
Does that
I
make
mean,
sense to you?
it does. And what I got was I got two triangles that invert on each other and cause a Merkaba. I mean, that's the integration that I
Hmm.
see is it's really just two triangles, one inverted into each other and spinning and causing the Merkaba. So that's
Yeah,
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 yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah. And again, so understand the sacredness of the dragon energy as it is a special place. And what we want you to see is that those that hold the energy of the dragon are interdimensional beings that can travel beyond the earthly realm and can experience all aspects of existence if they choose to do so.
Yes, yes, that's what I got. Um, so also on this Peru trip, very kind of fun thing happened is that I came across shamans with dragon eggs. So these
Oh,
were actually physically eggs that were crystals and had something dragging in them, and they've been carrying it around for decades and stuff like that. And there are psychics around the world who are tasked with placing dragon eggs at certain places on the Earth grid in order to unite the grid for humanity to raise to the fourth density. I also got that the final dragon egg is in Antarctica, and that's the last one that needs to be placed on the grid. So can they elaborate on that? And do they have a recommendation for me to do dragon egg work on the Earth grid? If
yeah, they're saying recognize that you don't need to do that, that that's not meant for you. But what we do want you to recognize is that it was important for you to understand how this crystalline energy of the cosmos is created for you to recognize how you can understand the consistency and the oneness and the wholeness and the completeness of all things. And so what we want you to see is that the reason why you came across this form of energy and this form of knowledge was to feed you. It was to
okay,
help your inner structure to become more of that oneness that's needed in order for you to shift into the plasma being.
yes,
Okay, that makes sense?
it does. I have also linked dragons with plasma. Can you elaborate on that, or is there a
Well, that's the
connection
reason
there?
why you needed them in order
Okay.
to shift into. I mean, I think that that's what they just said was that your recognition of the dragon energy is what your physical structure needs that energy to shift into that plasma being. That's
Yeah.
fascinating. I've never heard this. I love talking to people. I love it. I love doing this work because this is stuff I never
Yeah.
would even
Yeah.
ask or even
And,
think about.
yeah, and I knew that, because we're right now thinking, okay, light codes are coming to Earthlings, and woo, we're going to the fourth density. But I hear that plasma is actually in the higher dimensions.
Yeah,
That
it is.
that they're on like fifth dimension and higher. I
Yeah,
mean, so it's just that higher level. And I know
yeah,
there's no, hierarchy, but
yeah.
we're going, woo, we're getting light energy, but really the next stage is plasma energy.
Absolutely, it is. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
Cool,
yeah,
cool. Okay. Um, this is so much fun. Okay.
yeah.
Um, big on my to-do list is to help the ETs with open contact, which I understand is really going to happen late part of 2027.
No, 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 no.
Oh, okay.
They're laughing at you. Hi, sa pollo, no, no, ni ta 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 te te. Hey, se poto no hyo ka ta 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 ka te. What you're going to find is that more individuals are learning to connect to the energy or the voice of the language that we speak. And so, what we want you to understand is that individuals in their human form are already igniting the galactic DNA that is within them. So, what we want you to understand is that the person that is sitting next to you has already made contact. Okay, so and I've kind of known this, and so this is actually a validation. What we want you to understand, 2026 is going to be the year. And what we want you to understand is that you can start looking into the ideas of the end of the 2026 calendar to shift into the 2027 calendar. But what you'll begin to recognize is that it will be more acknowledged that humans are the galactic beings in this physical body. Okay, let me explain this to you. This is the way that I understand it. Okay, the way that our DNA is shifting. Okay,
Mhm.
first of all, we're all related.
Yes.
We're all galactic beings in this
Correct.
human
Yes.
form. Yeah, and
Duh. Yeah.
yeah.
It's like, yeah.
And so, but what's happening, is like what we talk about, the average person, open contact. Okay, what this means to me is that a spaceship is going to have to land in front of me. These alien beings, galactic beings, are going to have to walk off the ship, and I'm going to shake hands with them.
Yeah.
But they're laughing and saying, but the humans don't recognize that what's happening is that they're bringing their galactic energy and forces to existence upon the earth. And what you're going to recognize is that the knowledge and the wisdom of all species that live far beyond the earthly realm will be held within the human structure. As they begin to speak our language, you'll begin to recognize that we are you and you are us.
Yes. That makes
Okay?
total sense. And yes, and I've been helping people develop their light language and develop my own light language. So yes, it's popping up in my world every day.
Everywhere. It's
Yeah,
everywhere.
it's
And so
everywhere.
what's interesting, and again, I keep saying, and I really feel strongly that light language is going to become the universal language. And that you and I are probably going to end up talking to each other in light language and understand exactly what we're saying to each other, and not ever use our words because the true language in which humans were meant to speak is the language of light and not the forcing of specific identities, meaning words like closet, lamp. Recognize that these were not meant to be named in the language that we don't speak. So what we want you to understand is that the human is transitioning into its truest form, not only in the spiritual level, by creating the understanding that the spiritual aspect of oneness is what we already know. Humans are shifting into that understanding, which is creating the shift in the DNA and understanding how they are completely connected to all things. So, what we want you to see is that when the human vision, the human vision and the human version shift to the full extent of the DNA properties in which they hold, they will begin to recognize that they are not truly human, but they are actually beings that live far beyond what this dimension holds.
Excellent. Um, so let's stay on the subject of light language. So you just spoke Andromedan light language. I actually speak 4 different galactic light languages, including Dragon. Dragon's also a light language.
Yeah.
Can they step out for me light language of different dialects? Do they all communicate together, or do Andromedans only speak Andromedan to Andromedans, or does light language cross different galactic species and dragons, and do they all communicate with one, even though they sound different to me?
It's a vibrational frequency. But what we want you to understand is that we have our own dialects. Now you just jumped out of the Akashic records. so, so with it, and they're saying the Lyrans are Lisa's guides, and what we are doing for her is to create the opening so that we can answer your questions. Okay, so we just jumped. The Lyrans are mostly who I'm connected with, but I speak different dialects as well. Okay, so but what we want you to understand is that the energy property that is held within each vibrational frequency of our language is translated in codes to one another so that all dialects are understood regardless of the location or the origin of the language that's spoken.
Excellent. Makes sense.
Yeah, yeah. So it's like everything is going to be, I mean, everything is vibration and frequency.
Mhm.
And so the more that we shift our physical structure into this crystalline form, everything is being communicated by frequency. And so telepathy, it's almost like we're moving into this place of where we're not going to have words anymore. And I am so okay with that.
Yes, I am
Because,
here.
yeah, because what's going to happen is that we speak from our heart, not from the mind that can be harsh and cruel, but from the heart that is soft and gentle, and recognizing that the words that you speak in the language of love comes from us as well, as our language is of the high frequency, so that there is no hatred, anger, jealousy, or envy. And what we want you to understand is that the frequency that will be spoken will raise the consciousness of all, because as the words are spoken, the vibrational frequency is traveling through the atmosphere that's raising that atmospheric vibration. So what we want you to see is that you humans that are gaining the ability to speak in our language is not by accident. Understand that this has been well planned, and you'll also understand why some have been doing this longer than others, but you will also begin to recognize where the huge shift in the understanding and the amount of individuals that are sharing our words is happening and why they're coming into fruition at this particular time. Understand the shift.
Excellent. So the kissing cousin of light language is hand mudras. And what I get is that Earthlings think that hand mudra is movement, but it's not just movement. It's really frequency attunement.
Absolutely, it is. Yeah.
Can they speak about that?
Aha. Akinina botta kanuno tutto por kere sa tutto puna na kere ina anno no por kere sa che se ma hayana na kadak tak tak na hina na to so pora la kata sa china na se poto do na kata tak 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 kere hayana na se poto to por kere sa che ha na. Okay, it's like, would you please speak in English now? Okay, so but what we want you to understand is that the language of the hands is important as it resonates the frequency and it directs our language or our intentions to the spaces and the locations that we wish to focus on. Okay, so this This, oh, it makes so much sense. I'm so glad you asked these questions. Okay, so it's like what happens for me is that if I'm doing a session with somebody, so let's say you and I are doing this session right now, but maybe you're talking about maybe there's something that is a deep fear that you have, but there's something that's so deep that you can't clear it. Okay, so what happens is that my guides will come in and say, "Okay, we'll clear it for you." So they'll start working now. And remember, I'm just the conduit. And so they'll come in and I'm speaking the words, but my hands are doing all of the movement. And what I'm recognizing is that although I'm not physically or intentionally moving anything around, I see my hands doing it for me. So it's like the energy that's coming through is focusing on whatever is happening, whatever needs to happen. It's removing or shifting the energy, helping to pull it out or transmute. And the words and the vibrational frequency are guiding the language that is being held within the hands so that it can regulate or guide these energy patterns to create the outcome that is needed. So it's almost like it's a thing that's working together tandemly.
Together. Yes.
Okay.
It
Now, with
supplements
that,
each other.
yeah, but with that being said, is that when I started speaking light language, it did start with my fingers first. And they're saying, so what you'll find is that whoever the human is, whoever the person is that is being given the instructions to move the energetic patterns or to create the frequency that's needed will start with a hand movement or a voice sound. And what will happen is that then the energies will begin to integrate. The blockage is the mind and the throat. So, what we want you to understand is that the energetic body of the human is easier manipulated through the physical body, and the blockage of the sound of the voice is always the throat capacity and the way that the mind thinks. So what we want you to understand is that the voice and the throat have to be maneuvered and manipulated in order to carry our frequency, and the mind has to learn how to be silent so that the frequencies can come through so that the voice can be heard. Does
Yes,
that make sense?
it does. And what I get is that while we're on Earth, we take advantage of the physicality of having our senses. And when we use it, the motion, seeing, hearing it, we stamp it down into this reality. So it's like an additional tool or option for us to emphasize and stamp it down to this reality.
Yeah.
So yes, all that completely makes sense. So I'm going to go to the next kissing cousin, which is sigils.
Mm.
I actually see pictures of sigils, and what I get is that I can trace them on the air, I can trace them on people's bodies, I can trace them on pieces of paper, and it does that. It stamps it down to this reality, and there's information in the pictures. There's tremendous amount of energy and information, and it can be used for various purposes such as healing, opening portals. It's a multifaceted option. Can they talk about that?
Yeah, no, this is the coding that you were speaking of earlier. And so what we want you to understand is yes. And we also want you to understand that the codes that are within the human being are also being activated so that they can become more in reliance on oneself and being able to understand that these specific codes and symbols are being activated so that the human can stand more fully in the completeness of who they are without the interdimensional construct holding them down to fit in a specific subject like the human body. And it's allowing the human body to become more of a trace than the physical structure. So what's happening is that it's like our codes are breaking down this physical um, confinement, and not meaning that we're going to lose form, but what it does mean is that we are becoming more of a light body that is still going to be held in a human form, but the density is getting thinner and thinner and thinner and thinner and thinner. Does
Mhm.
that make sense to you?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
because I understand it really clearly, but I'm not sure that I'm explaining it. Because what's happening is that when I'm saying it, I keep thinking about how people think they're going to just dissipate. Like we're just going to be walking around little, you know, a little, I always see it's like a fog, and
Yeah.
like we're not even going to be in this form anymore. It's like we're going to stay in this form, but it's just a different structure of form.
Yes. I mean, one of my talents is that whenever a psychic does anything, I download kind of what they get, you
Hmm.
know, instantly kind of. So it's very easy for me to follow stuff.
Okay,
Yeah.
good.
Um, so on the issue of plasma, so I've gotten information previously that, and this was through the dragons, that they said that I will, in this incarnation, develop a unique talent where I will be able to take, I think they said dragon plasma energy and constrict it into my body down to a fine diamond, it's pressure, 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 and to a diamond kind of power plant. And that I'll be able to use that in a way to help humanity raise to the fourth density and do various tasks, such as, codes for sacred sites or stuff like that. Can they speak about that?
So what we want you to understand is that the physical body is actually transforming. Okay, so what the plasma body is the step after the crystalline body.
Hmm.
And so what we want you to understand is that when the structure has been completely eliminated, basically meaning that, when we let go of all of our baggage, all of our, the mind's construct, all of this stuff that keeps us in this chaos, when you move away from that being and you turn into the crystalline body, the plasma body is the next phase into becoming reality. And what we want you to understand is that this is what's coming to you in a way that you are going to be shown how to transform or transmission this particular form of energy that is higher than what is currently existing on earth at this particular time, which is more of the crystalline energy. The humans are turning into the crystalline body unless you're extremely advanced, and then you're moving into the plasma body. They're saying, but there's very few that are in the plasma form at this particular time. But you have the ability to do so. But what we want you to recognize is that there's still work that needs to be done in this physical structure before you take on that full form of the plasma body. But is this possible for you to do in this lifetime for you? Absolutely, yes, it will be happening. But today's not the day. There's still some things that you have to adjust to
Yes, and
calibrate to.
yeah, I agree. I'm still downloading the crystalline body. I mean,
Yeah,
I'm still like on 3D Earth, some
yeah,
way. So yeah, I get it. I get it.
yeah.
Yes. Fun. Look forward to it. Okay. Any suggestions or addition in terms of techniques and to open portals? Because in Peru, I did sacred sites. I opened a lot of portals and I just followed my intuition. But do they have any suggested portal opening techniques and also light code optimization absorption for me and Earthlings?
Okay, that's two separate questions. So let's
Yeah.
just do one at a time, okay? Because I'll forget the other part. Okay, so let's
Yes.
start with the portals.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, so what we want you to recognize is that not all portals are meant to be open,
Fair
which
enough.
you understand that. And
Yeah.
so what we want you to understand is that the timing is also significant. So what we want you to understand is that by listening to that true inner voice of who you are and knowing which portals to open and which to close or to keep closed. So we want you to understand that you are also going to be able to do the work of closing old portals so that the old energy is no longer in existence, because these old portals are also allowing older denser energies to exist. And so what we want you to see is that there is a time, and again, this is kind of going back, they're showing me South Dakota again, and that there's some old portals in that area that need to be closed. And so what we want you to understand is not to focus too much on opening, 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 but being able to discriminate and to discern which one's open and which one's closed. So we want you to see that your guidance will project to you. Your helpers will tell you and show you how to manipulate or to use each portal as it is needed at this particular time. We want you to recognize that there is no standard method. And we don't want you to focus on what should be and shouldn't be. We want you to trust your guidance and feel what we're feeling, because they're saying timing is everything.
Hmm.
Okay, so not it's not like, okay, well, I'm going to go to South Dakota and every little oomph I feel, I'm opening all the portals.
Okay, fair
Okay.
enough. Yeah.
And again, and it's not because, it's like they're laughing and saying the earth, you couldn't open all of the portals at one time or the earth would explode. And again, and humans would, because the energy would be so great that we couldn't handle it. And I'm seeing wars breaking out. I'm seeing like,
Okay.
bombs dropping and all that stuff. So we want you to understand that portals are not something to be played with, and not that you are, but this is what they're saying, because I think that what they're talking about is other people. They're laughing and saying individuals, humans, they just think that they just do, and they don't recognize the consequences from their doing. And so
Yeah.
what we want you to understand is that this isn't something that individuals should be taking lightly. We want you to understand that for you specifically, you have the ability to listen to our guidance and you will be shown what to do, what to implement. And I'm seeing codes dropping down. And
Yeah.
again, all of the codes are not going to be the same for every experience. And so this is why
Mhm.
we want you to trust your own guidance and listen to what's being said at the specific time and what needs to be done at the specific time. Again, because you may think in your head this one needs to be open when in reality, no, this one needs to be closed. And that's why you don't need to put, okay, this is how you do this and follow a specific format.
Yes,
That
I
makes
get
sense.
that everything is individualized and you do it right then and there on the spot. And sometimes you may actually be called to open it and then close it. Or
Mhm.
sometimes, it's all different combinations. So it's based off your intuition when you're right there and then.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's what you need to keep doing.
Okay, excellent, excellent. Okay, so let's talk about the second part of that question is that, humans, me, everyone, we're getting a lot of light codes, right? We're getting a lot of light code from galactic sources, the angelic realm, everything. It's just this great time where we're all showered by codes. So what should we do to optimize that, to increase our absorption? Or do we just, go with, hey, everything's going to come to us in perfect timing and amount, so don't even think about it.
That we also want you to recognize that the timing depends on the human realm and the human experience. So what we want you to see is that the codes are coming to earth, but we also want you to recognize that some individuals are ready to receive them and some aren't. And so what we want you to see is that when an individual has cleared the emotional properties or the mind's control, recognize that they are then ready for the next stage of advancement. So at that point, they will be given the gifts that are needed in order for them to move forward.
Okay. And I guess
Okay.
every individual will have their spirit guide or come to them about what to do. I mean, so I should never think about anyone else's coding. I just need to follow me and
Yeah, do
feel
you.
what's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, do you. And again, because it's up to the individual if they're ready to receive it or not. So they're saying once again, if you recognize that you ignite a code that they're not ready to receive, then that may have adverse effects on them. So it could take them, it's again, it's like when you pull out too much stuff and it's like, and this is just an example. Okay,
Yeah.
so again, don't I'm just using this as an example. Let's take ayahuasca for example. Okay, somebody that has a whole lot of shit going on in their life, lots of
Yeah.
trauma, lots of stuff that's going on in their life. They go and they do a ayahuasca journey.
Yeah.
And this medicine comes in and it pulls out a huge chunk of this stuff. Then, okay, well, at the time, oh, this is fabulous. Okay, we'll give it about 2 weeks. And then that person loses their mind
Yeah.
because there was so much stuff that was pulled out, they don't know how to cope.
Yeah.
So it's like, they get lost. That's when they start losing their mind and they can't think straight. They don't know what steps to take. So we want you to understand that the coding that is being given to the universe at this particular time is within the respective, each person's individual path, how they are meant to receive it and when they are meant to receive it.
Yes.
Okay. Now, but with this being said, because I'm, I just did a workshop on activating the galactic codes, but it was very specific, and they were working on the code. Not, it's at the third eye, but it's not the chakra. There's a code here, a code in your throat, a code in the heart, and then there was a code at your sacrum. And they're saying these codes were selected to activate at this particular time because humans are combining their mind, their throat, and their heart and their sacrum to become more one. So it's more, it's not they're not being ignited to clear anything out. It's more of a union. It's to be able to clear out the, help to assist letting the mind step aside and create that connection between the mind, the throat, and the heart and the sacrum, which is, they're saying it's the sacred. They're saying it's the sacred divinity that creates an energy flow for the body to advance. Okay. So it's not as dramatic as, okay, I'm going to take you today and I'm going to do 15,000 codes and I'm going to ignite you. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah. Um, okay. Yeah, I mean, I was gonna briefly touch on like I like doing grid work and I like traveling around the world and I don't like doing it alone. So I am probably going to go with some friends and stuff like that. But everything you said, we're going to be messing around, having fun, and putting together, all these great code works, but everyone's different, so they're going to all respond differently. But I'm just going to trust that it's their inner self that's either going to draw them to my party or not. I mean,
Absolutely. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. And recognize that those that are in alignment with who you are will come to you. But
yeah,
we also want you to recognize that it's important for you to recognize that your energy is a lot stronger than a lot of people can handle. And so they may not be attracted to you in large numbers because they can't hold on to the energy. So, like your energy, you're going to be more connected to somebody that's a lot further down their path. You're not going to get a lot of people that are beginners
yeah, yeah.
because,
Not that's true. That's what's
yeah,
happening now. Yeah,
yeah, yeah. And you can't, I mean, you wouldn't be able to handle it either. It's like you wouldn't be able to be in that energy of somebody that hasn't done some work.
yeah. It drains
It's,
me. It drains
yeah,
us when we can't be authentic and tell them how
yeah.
woo we are. It drains
Yeah.
us.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. And for people to, again, you're not good with, and again, I mean, I'm the same way. We are not, it's draining to be around people that are not, um, when they're at a lower frequency, it's like they pull out your energy as well. And then it's uncomfortable, especially when you're doing work like this, when you need to stand in your purest energy. If you have somebody that's pulling your energy out or that's not fully invested in this energy flow, then it creates a kilter that's within us where we can't stand in our truest energy in order to do the work that we're meant to do. Does that make sense to you?
yes, it does.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Mhm.
Okay, so my Arcturian guides have told me repeatedly that I've incarnated with a full spiritual tool chest that is packed and overflowing. So, can the Akashic Records help me pick out the next fun gift and how to develop it?
Okay, so I'm seeing again, I'm seeing something that's being coded here, and what it looks like a gem. And so what we want you to understand is that you have the ability to shift into a way of knowing. But we want you to understand that this is being slowly implemented. Okay, so again, I'm going back to the codes. Okay, so I'm just going to have to explain it to you in this experience that I had. So a couple of weeks ago, I did a workshop on this galactic coding, which the workshop was given to me. We did 3 activations, and again, we worked on this area, this code, the throat code, the heart, and the sacrum. Okay, so after I did that, I kept seeing, it's like I saw this crystal. It's like a crystal that was implanted here, and it was coming up and out. And so like days after I did that activation, obviously it was affecting me too. I was seeing that there was this crystal stone that was in my, I'm calling it the third eye, but that's not what it is. But it's the vision. And so what's happening with you is that your vision is being shifted and altered for you to be able to see differently than what you do now. And so we want you to understand that you're being given this vision to see far beyond the human realm and what lies within the different dimensions of consciousness, but also see through the humans. And I'm seeing it's like X-ray vision. It's
Yeah.
like you're able to see through in the human to recognize their beauty, that the soul connection, that love light, all of the things. And what you're going to find is that you have the ability to see into what needs to be healed and repaired. And what you'll have the ability to do is that this is showing you more clearly than what you see today. But it's not only, it's not like it's just humans. I'm seeing you looking at a tree and being able to see the life and the structure that's within the tree. And again, energy patterns, of course. All of the galactic beings, everything. It's like the veil is just got ripped off. It's like everything that was separating us from everything that's out there. That's what this crystal is. It's to be able to see through the illusion, to see the truth of all things. So it's the X-ray vision. Does that make
What's
sense to
funny
you?
about that, yes, and when you said that, what I got the vision is that that's what Lemurian priestesses used to have. They used to have a crystal right there,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
for that function.
Yeah. Well, and the way that I keep seeing it is because I'm tied, obviously a bunch of different species, but the Lyrans are more of who I am. And I keep seeing the lion with that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
makes total sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, well, the last question I have is kind of a fun one, I guess, is that early on I asked myself, what would be my exit point if I wanted to exit with my my body completely intact with no health problems and stuff like that, and just youthful and like that. And I got to age 87, and then after that, I got that. Well, you can now cellular regenerate because I got downloads subsequently about cellular regeneration. I not okay. Well, that does that change things? So, do they have anything to say about that?
So the exit point of the solar generations, the exit point.
Yeah,
Okay. So now the question is what would, if you wanted to leave the earth fully healthy and complete,
yeah, yeah,
then what would be the exit point at that
yeah,
time? They're
yeah.
laughing and saying, today.
Okay.
And they're laughing and saying, you see why this is a nonsensical
Yeah.
question. But what we want you to understand is that you're shifting and changing in such a rapid rate that you don't fully understand the significance of who you are and why you're on earth at this particular time. What we want you to recognize is that the thought and the idea of leaving the earthly plane is not in the purview. So what we want you to understand is that we are not ready for you to leave yet, as your soul's plan has many more dimensions to travel before it exits the earth plane. So obviously you got some stuff that's going on here
Yeah.
that, but what is happening is that you're breaking down, and the more that you're breaking down, the more that you're building the ability to travel to different dimensions and stay in these different dimensions and then come back to earth. And what we want you to understand is that this is a healing power that you have to give to the earthly realm. And so understand that your significance is not limited to only the earthly idea of what an existence should be. So what we're asking you to do is to stand solid in who you are and accept, and accept the generation of giving that has been given to you in order to exist in this realm of consciousness that's meant for you.
Makes sense. In other words, just follow your soul. Let just flow with what your soul has
Yeah.
written in your soul plan. So just have
Yeah.
fun with it.
Yeah. In other words, don't worry about it.
Yeah. Completely get it. Completely
Yeah.
get it.
Yeah. Well, Daryl,
Well,
you are so fun. Thank you.
well, thank you, Lisa. I love these, and I love the work you do, and I just want to give you gratitude and appreciation. It's just so much fun.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.